the things you notice up in the sky is that um, the weather seems to be changing so much. The weather seems to be changing so much that that sometimes you are hot, and sometimes you are cold, and sometimes the weather is not consistent. But we read from Genesis chapter 8, verse 22, that even after the flood, there was consistency in terms of the weather with God. We are back up on the internet, we are back on, and we hope other persons can rejoin us. We don't know whether or not the internet will remain, but we pray and hope that it will stay connected and those who are on the internet can hear what is happening, because I know that this is a topic that many persons wanted to hear. Now we are going to be looking at this that we call geoengineering. Geoengineering. When you use the term chemtrails and so on, then those who are really really in charge of all of these things will look on you funny. We want to look at solar radiation management, the use of the aluminum, magnesium, barium, and graphene oxide, and all of these things that are being sprayed in the atmosphere, and why all of these things are there, and the effects that all of these things will have on our body. And so many persons in Jamaica have noticed these things taking place. As when you look up, you see them, and sometimes very early in the morning, all day long, you see these crisscrossing take place. And so we are exploring it in detail tonight, giving you this information so that at least you can make intelligent decisions as to whether or not how you will know answer when persons tell you about this thing. And so we are going back to the conversation between Tucker Carlson and Dane Whittingham to see if we can understand more about it, this geoengineering and the solar radiation that is taking place in the world today. All of these things damage us and cause cancer and so on, and so many other things to the environment. And farmers are affected a lot. I do a little bit of home farming, and I am affected by it as well. So this information coming out is so very important. Let us hear some more.
The term chemtrails, you say, is a propaganda term designed to discredit people who ask sincere questions about what the hell am I looking at. So
Google that term, they'll get what you got. And that's what we try to avoid. If anybody's unfamiliar with the issue and they Google that term, that's the end of their search most likely. So we try to point chess, semantics matter in this case.
Okay, so the first line of the Wikipedia entry points out something true, which is that when you look at these lines in the sky and you're told, well, it's just condensation, it's water vapor, you know that maybe that's not the right explanation, because water vapor dissipates and doesn't remain in the sky for like 20 minutes after the plane leaves. So that suggests bigger particles in the mist, the particulate matter in the mist. Is that correct?
Exactly correct. If you see, for example, breath condensing, if you see some researchers in the Arctic and their breath is condensing because it's very cold, do they get a cloud starting to form over their head? If you have a vehicle that's exhaust is condensing in the morning, you have a freeway with giant clouds hanging over it from the condensation from the vehicles in some cold region? No, that's not how condensation behaves. And again, my journey into this whole battle of now 27 years, but when I built my off-grid home in Northern California, middle of the wilderness, it was the cover of the world's largest renewable energy magazine. They have solar, wind, and hydro. And I was losing, on some days, from what these aircraft were emitting, 50, 60, even 70% of my solar uptake from what these aircraft were emitting. I knew that could not be condensation. When I began to research, I was very surprised at the mountain of information on geoengineering. Solar radiation management. And I looked for primary elements. I began to test my precipitation. I hoped I would not find these elements in my read, because I knew if I did, it would change the entire course of my life. I cannot look the other way. I came up with 7 parts per billion in my first rain test over the next 18 months because I took that long researching before I was willing to speak out on this issue.
All right, we want to thank those who have joined us on the radio, those who have joined us on the internet. I think we are back on, but we are in and out. The internet is not consistent. Those on the radio, we understand that you might not be hearing us. We apologize for that. We are really, really trying to see how we can remedy the situation, how we can remedy this situation for you. The internet, we understand, is a little bit unstable, and so it is not as consistent as how we would want it to be. For the last few minutes, we have not been able to go out, but it appears that we are going out now. But we are a little bit unsure of what is happening on the radio, and so we are trying to remedy that situation with the radio right now. Um, we know the information might be, it might be, I don't, we, the, our radio in the studio is not, it's not on right now. And so we apologize for that. Apologize for those who are on the internet, for those who are not hearing as clearly as we would like you to hear. But the internet is supposed to be now. Let me, what is happening in this reality? We are getting anywhere with this. And see where we are. See, after this hurricane pass, we keep having a whole lot of problems. And so, if you are able to see us on the internet, then you could indicate that you are seeing us, so that we can know that the information is going out. And we are trying to see if this information is out there. So, if you are able to see us on the internet, all right, we are getting some information. The internet is up right now. All right, the information is going out on the internet. All right, the information is going out on the internet. Um, Thank you so very much. We are not sure about the radio as yet, but the information is going out on the internet. You are, we understand that you are getting the information now, but the radio we are not so sure about as yet, and so we are still working on that to see how best we can. Yeah, we are working on it to see how best we can get the information. All right, on the radio. All right. We are going to take a little break. We're going to play something for you. We're going to take a little break right now, and then we're going to see if we can sort things out. All right. We're going to see if we can sort this out for you. Internet.
So look at external. So when you sign on this evening, you sign on, you hear your family back, but then it will cut off.
So internet cut off.
Immediately after you sign on, it starts cut off. So you're going to the vehicle and you turn on the radio. Yes, sir. So when you come on, it happens.
Just the internet alone. So
Yeah,
no,
but the internet.
you know, consistent. You know, you know. I want to tell in that much. I want to tell in that much.
Wait, come on, Mama said.
The radio.
Yeah, but Mama said we can put the radio after the hurricane. Yes, and there's anything that goes. You get him by your radio.
You get it on radio. Yeah, we are checking. Yeah. No, that not the
frequency changing.
All right, we thank those who are listening on the internet. Thank you so very much.
On
We're
the
not
radio.
sure what is happening on the radio.
On the radio.
The radio is up and running. Thank you so very much for those who continue to be with us on the radio. Want to welcome Anthony.
Yeah, man.
Some persons were asking for you.
Oh.
Teddy asked for you um, because you weren't at the regular place.
Oh. We're trying to get the
So,
relief supply.
yeah.
today.
So it's good to have you on. Good to have you here, Anthony.
Yes, good to be
So
here.
so very good to have you here.
Mhm.
Um, this we are back on. We are doing the interview, listening to the interview with Tucker Carlson,
Mhm.
and we want to go back to that interview. We looked at a number of things. We looked at a number of things already. We looked at what the chemtrails are made of, and we look at the fact that it is the right name we should call it is geoengineering, the scientific name instead of chemtrails. And we also look at the solar radiation. We look at the aluminum and barium and graphene oxide and so on that is in it. And we also looked at the fact that this gentleman has been looking at it for 27 years.
Mhm.
Have been studying it for 27 years, Anthony. And we also looked at the fact that Iran stood up in the United Nations. And when Iran stood up in the United Nations, that they actually said that NATO was causing problems in the country, that they were causing drought to take place, that they blame NATO for that, that NATO did not cause any rain to fall in that area.
It's
And-
NATO is falling rain. I thought it was God that fell.
NATO is doing this geoengineering.
Yeah.
And so, until we look at Genesis chapter 8 and verse 22, we looked at the fact that God made seasons,
Mhm.
and that He is not just the creator of the world,
Mhm.
that He is the one who should be able to manipulate the weather, but then permission was given in the book of Job.
Mhm.
When Job came at a meeting he was not supposed to be at, and Satan came to that meeting.
Yeah.
And when he came to that meeting, God told him that he can go thus far and no further in
Right.
regard to Job.
Right.
And he took away everything. We looked at two things, Anthony, that he did.
Mhm.
Two things. The two things were that he caused fire to come down from heaven.
Yeah.
That is in verse 16.
Mhm.
And then in verse 19, he caused a wind to come from the wilderness. So fire and wind. We look at the fact that what could be this fire that comes from heaven.
Mhm.
And in our day, we see something people call thunderbolt, lightning,
Mhm.
that could cause a fire. And the wind, we don't know if this was a tornado, we don't know if it was a hurricane like the Hurricane Melissa
Mhm.
that did Jamaica damage. We don't know exactly if it's either one of them
Right.
that happened during the time of Job. So Satan's manipulation of all of these things. We also know that Satan today works through his agencies,
Mhm.
that he has persons that he works through. Revelation chapter 13 tells us that there is a power on this earth that Satan has given with seat, power, and great authority.
Mhm.
So he represents Satan on this earth today. These are some of the things that are taking place.
Okay.
Putting all of this on you, I know you just come. Putting all of this on you.
Yes. Yeah.
We hope that persons are able to join us on the internet.
Mhm.
Some more persons. It was unstable. Don't know if persons realize that and decide not to join us
Mhm.
because of the unstableness of the internet,
Internet. Yes.
and the instability
Mhm.
of the internet. And so we're looking at it and to see exactly what is happening there. So we're going to go back to this interview,
Mhm.
and we are going to look now at who is causing all of these things to take place.
Okay.
And so we are looking back at Tucker Carlson and this gentleman talking there, Dave Whittingham.
Mhm.
And so he has given us a lot of information, Anthony, a whole lot of information. And so we are grateful that this gentleman spent so many years studying this thing so that he can now inform us about all of these things that is taking place on the internet, in the weather. All right. And so we're going to go back and look at it.
Certainly DOD, DARPA, and we have documents to prove the existence of these programs going polymer fibers, graphene, all of this coming down in our breathable air Tucker.
That's horrifying. People worry about the safety of their home now more than ever. Simply Safe is an amazing solution. And
Yeah, so we're finding out that the geoengineering, we say we should not call it chemtrails.
No, we should not call it chemtrails.
The geoengineering that
Yes.
is taking place
Yes.
is a concerted effort to not only to destroy life on Earth as it relates to humanity, but we recognize that these metals that are placed in the atmosphere, they also affect our plants.
Yes.
In the sense that
definitely.
when the aluminum and the barium
Yes.
comes down on the earth,
Mm-hmm.
what it does, it causes the soil to become acidic,
Yes.
and therefore it is difficult for plant life to be able to
Yes.
regenerate.
That's
and,
right. Yeah.
and also to thrive.
Yeah. I think that was Iran was saying
Mhm.
at the United Nations that the weather is being manipulated. So
Yeah, definitely it affects the plant.
and so he was saying that
Mhm. I think that when in the companies that actually we see